Hello everybody, my name is Sigourney and I am the head baker and owner of Culinary Confections, a vegan bakery delivering delicious cakes and cupcakes right to your door all over the Golden Horseshoe. I am so excited to be here today at the Toronto Veg Fest hosted by the Toronto Vegetarian Association. I absolutely love this event. I go every year. I just think it's such a great way to learn about all the different vegan vendors that the city has to offer and just learn about new businesses. You get to try so much delicious food, learn about new products, and like I said, learn about some of the many vegan businesses that are just all over the city. Now more than ever, it is so important for people to shop local and support those small businesses that you know and love so that they can continue to serve you for years to come. Anyways, enough about me, enough about the Veg Fest. We all know you're here to see something delicious. So the theme of this is to come up with a gift that you can give, that you can make at home. And what better gift than cakes in a jar, okay? I know it sounds crazy, but cakes in a jar are so cute, so delicious, and you can get so creative with them and really make them your own. I'm gonna give you a little preview, but this is a cake in a jar. So we've got our cake, our icing, some decorations, and voila, cake in a jar, and you can give this to your loved ones, your friends, and they are just going to devour them all up. All right, so what do you need? You need mason jars. I'm using 500 milliliter wide mouth mason jars for my cakes, but you can use whatever size jar you want. You can go small, you can go bigger. You don't even have to use the wide mouth, just do what you want with whatever jar you have. And then of course you need cake, you need frosting, and you need whatever decorations you want. So I've got an assortment of goodies that we're gonna use today, and I'll give you some ideas, but like I said, make these your own. They're gifts from you, you're creating them, and you can customize them to whoever you are giving them to. So, some of the delicious toppings that we're going to use today are fresh strawberries. I've got some crushed up cookies, marshmallows, we have vegan sprinkles, a little bit of crushed up cake, and then some chocolate Oreos that I've ground up, and chocolate sauce as well. So it looks like quite an assignment, but you just wait and see some of the flavors that we're going to work on. And then of course, we need our cake. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of different ways that you can go about doing this. The first one that we're going to do is using cupcakes. So here I just have some funfetti or confetti type cupcakes that I've baked up. You can use whatever recipe you want. Get your favorite cake recipe. There are boxed cake recipes that can be made vegan that are accidentally vegan, or you can find some vegan ones. Bake them up whatever way you want. Like I said, we're gonna start with the cupcakes, but you can bake them in a sheet pan, you can bake them in a circle pan, whatever you want, you're gonna deconstruct it anyways. So we're gonna take our nifty old mason jar, and then we're going to take the wrapping off of our cupcakes. I always use cupcake wrappers that are disposable. Culinary Confections tries to have as little environmental footprint as possible, so you can just throw them right in the compost when you're all done, which is amazing. But now we're going to take our cupcake and we're going to cut it up. So I'm just going to start by cutting this into 3 pieces. I'm going to cut it up again, and we're basically just going for some cubed cake. I know that it's kind of hard to see. It would be so much fun if we were in person at the Veg Fest, but this is still great. So we're just going to chop it up, get those cubes, and then we are going to load this into the jar. So just bite-sized pieces. This is not an art. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's no right or wrong way to do this, which I think is the best part. And they're just so cute and so delicious. I think it's so fun to take regular food like cake and come up with creative ways to serve it, because it really is all about how you serve it, how you package it. It really makes it taste just a little bit better, don't you think? And I know that your friends, your family, your loved ones are going to love receiving this over the holidays or for whatever occasion you give it to them for. All right, so we're gonna take some of our cubes and we're just going to put them right into the bottom of our mason jar. So we're gonna do this in 3 layers. So we're gonna take a third of these until we have a fairly even layer at the bottom. Now again, you can decide if you like cake more, if you like icing more, you can adjust your layers that way. But I filled the jar up probably just under a third of the way. And now I'm gonna take some vanilla frosting. So just let me grab it. Wanted to keep it in the fridge so it was nice and fresh. And we are going to pipe this right on to the cake. So I have put it into a piping bag. You can do that if you want, but you certainly don't have to. You can just spoon it right in here as well. It does not have to be perfect. It's going to come out cute no matter what. And that's the best part about it. There's no being precise here. You're just getting in there and you are going for it. So you want to try and get the icing as close to the outside of the glass as you can so that there aren't any gaps. And there we have our layer of frosting. So you can do a thinner layer, you can do a thicker layer. I love frosting, so I did a thicker one, and then we're gonna repeat. So we're gonna add another third of our chopped up cake cubes into the mason jar. Just try and get it a little bit even if you can. And then guess what? We are going to repeat that. So we are gonna pipe on some more, or like I said, spoon on, dollop on, whatever you want. Just get some frosting on there. Just pushing it out to the sides. It doesn't look beautiful. You're just putting it in. You're not worrying too much about the look right now. And then we're gonna put the remainder of our cake chunks in here. And then we're gonna finish it off. How easy was that? So you just bake up a bunch of cupcakes, chop them up, or you can do a cake if you want, chop it up, and then put them in a jar, make your favorite frosting. Again, we have our funfetti cake with our whipped vanilla bean buttercream, which is absolutely to die for. I think my favorite frosting. It sounds boring, but I promise you it's anything but boring. And now I'm gonna take a spatula. You can take any spatula you want. You could use a knife, you could use the back of the spoon. You don't even have to do this step. And I'm just gonna smooth out the top here a little bit. And then I'm gonna take some sprinkles, since we're going for the sprinkle funfetti or confetti theme, and I'm gonna put them on top. Now these are vegan sprinkles, but there are lots of vegan sprinkles out there, either intentionally vegan or accidentally vegan, so just be mindful when you are buying your sprinkles, because sometimes they contain shellac in them or red food dye, which makes them not vegan. And just like that, we have our funfetti or confetti cake in a jar, and how cute is that? All right, so one down. I'm just gonna put this back here. No, you know what? I'm gonna put it over here because it's so cute. Why wouldn't we wanna look at it? Just gonna wipe off my table a little bit, and then we are going to move on to the next flavor. So, the next flavor that I've decided to make is strawberry cream vanilla. Okay, I know it sounds fancy. It's not, but it is delicious. So this time, what we're gonna do is I've already got some pre-sliced cake. This was just from some leftover cake that I was doing. I chopped it into chunks, and we're gonna repeat. So we're gonna take our cake, we're gonna put it in the bottom. See, I've got sprinkles everywhere. That's the problem with sprinkles. They run away and they get everywhere. We're gonna put it in the bottom, and we are going to put some icing on top. So for this one, we're not just gonna use vanilla frosting, we're gonna use a whipped strawberry infused frosting. It is delicious. It has fresh chunks of strawberry in there, whipped into a strawberry buttercream, and it is so silky smooth and so delicious. I could just eat the icing right out of here. We're gonna pipe it on top. Again, not being careful here. We're just going for it. Get it to the edges as much as possible. And then we're gonna take some of our strawberries. So I've pre-sliced some strawberries thinly, and I didn't do a very good job of pushing it to the end. I need to listen to my own advice here. All right, there we go. That should be good. So we got it to the edges, and we're gonna layer these strawberry pieces on. How good is this? This is probably, I feel like I say this about everyone, but this is probably one of my favorites. It's so delicious. It's kind of light and airy, but the strawberries, they just add so much. And then, same thing as last time, we're going to repeat. So we got our strawberry buttercream on top. Well, you know what? I messed up, but that's okay, it doesn't matter. We were supposed to put our cake chunks on next, but guess what? We're gonna do a little sandwich here. So we got our cake chunks on top. No one will know except you. See? You can't screw them up, I promise. So I'll make this one a little bit thicker on the top because we're just doing 2 layers here. And then I think what we'll do is we'll put the strawberries right on top of the cake because we want to make sure we give our gift receivers as much strawberry goodness as can possibly be fit into one mason jar. And then we're going to put the icing on top. And the fun thing about these is you're giving them the cake and then they get to keep the mason jar. And I don't know about you, but I love using mason jars for pretty much everything. Food storage, I put my spices in them. You can put your beans, your lentils, whatever the case may be. They're just always in demand in our house. So if someone gave me a gift in a mason jar, I know I would be very, very grateful for it. Okay, so we're putting the rest of our frosting on top. Doesn't look very elegant, but again, when you're done, you saw the finished product. It's so cute and so fun to eat and just so fun to give. Okay, so I've got my spatula, I'm smoothing that out. And then to top it off, we are going to put a sliced or a strawberry cut in half on top. So we're just gonna take it, push it in there, then we're gonna put the other half, and there you go. We have our strawberry cream cakes in a jar. How cute! Layers and layers of delicious cake, frosting, and fresh strawberries. And then to give them, you're just gonna put your lid on top and you can transport them easily. You don't have to worry about any mess, about them falling apart. It really is a foolproof process. Okay, enough with that one. Enough talking, Sigourney. Let's move on. Okay, we're gonna take our next jar, and this one is going to be a little bit different. So I've got some red velvet cake that I made, and this one obviously I made into circles. So these were just 9-inch circle pans, and I baked them and then I sliced them in half. So one just sliced in half so we could get a thinner slice, since we don't want too thick of slices in the jars, otherwise you're not going to be able to decorate them. And then what we're gonna do is, instead of doing the chunks, we're actually gonna cut circles out of them. So to get circles that fit in your mason jar, you're gonna take your mason jar lid, come closer so you can see, and you're just gonna cut on the inner circle. So it's a little bit shorter in diameter than the outer circle, so we're just gonna cut along the inner circle. We're gonna put this on our cake. We're gonna get a knife, which is over here, and then we're just gonna cut these circles out. So for the circles, since they're a little bit thinner, I like to do 4. If you're not putting too many toppings or decor pieces in there, you want to have a little bit more cake so that you have enough substance to fill up the jar. So we're going to do 4 circles. That should be probably what this yields. And then all of the scraps of this are what you can use to do the cake chunks for the other jars. So there is no waste, which I absolutely love. You know what? I might even need 5 slices, but let's do 4 and we'll see how it goes. You can always add in more. So we've got 3 here. We'll cut out 1 more. I love red velvet cake. A lot of people think that red velvet cake is so hard to make, but it's actually not. Red velvet cake was traditionally made red by the use of beets, but now a lot of people just use red food coloring, which you also have to be mindful about because it is not always vegan, but there are plenty of red food colorings out there that are vegan friendly. But today, you just use the red food coloring and you're basically making a very mild chocolate cake. So instead of going full-fledged chocolate, you're taking a vanilla cake, you're adding in a little bit of cocoa powder, adding in your red food coloring, and you have a much lighter tasting chocolate cake that you've colored red. Okay, so we're gonna take our circles and they're gonna fit perfectly into our jar. Look at that. And this is gonna give us a little bit of a different look, a little bit cleaner. So now we're gonna take some cream cheese frosting. So let me grab it from the fridge. Cream cheese frosting is notorious for melting, so I always keep it in the fridge until the very moment I need it. But I used Daya cream cheese for this, so just their plain cream cheese, and then some butter and vegan butter, and some powdered sugar, vanilla, a little bit of almond milk or soy milk, and you have delicious, delicious, delicious cream cheese frosting. And now I'm just gonna pipe it in like we did before, get our circles all the way to the edge. All right, see? I'm gonna make this one a little bit thicker because who does not love cream cheese frosting? Then we're gonna take our next piece, put it in. When you're making cream cheese frosting, if you find that it's a little bit too sweet, because some people do, all you need to do is add a little tiny bit of salt. So you can start for a big batch of cream cheese frosting. You can start with probably about 1/4 teaspoon and work your way all the way up to maybe 1/2 or 3/4 teaspoon. You want to do a little bit at a time because of course you don't want your frosting to be salty, but it does help to just enhance the flavors a little bit and cut back on some of that sweetness, which I know is a common complaint with cream cheese frosting. So we've got our last layer going on. And these ones are so pretty. You can really see the layers. Looks a little bit different. Looks a little bit more elegant, I guess you could say. And then we're gonna do our final layer on top. Finish that off. And then I'm gonna take my spatula one more time. And again, I'm just gonna smooth off the top. Now, if you wanna get really fancy and you are using a piping bag, you could definitely use some fun tips to make some swirls or whatever other piping designs you want, but it's definitely not needed. Anyone can do this with any of the tools that they have in their kitchen. And then to finish it off, I've got some of those red velvet cake pieces that I just crumbled up earlier. So I'm gonna put that on top here. And then for a little bit of extra pizzazz, I'm gonna take some crushed Oreo and I'm gonna put that on top too. You can buy Oreos that are designated vegan, but Oreos are actually accidentally vegan if you didn't know. So it's a great hack when you're baking. All right. Let's look at this one. How cute is that? I think this one would be great for Christmas or any time of year. And if you are making these for a specific holiday and you want to have fun and you want to color the frosting, you can definitely do that. You can get some food coloring and you can make your icing into different colors. You could make your vanilla cake into rainbow if you wanted. You can do whatever you want so that you're really customizing these cakes for the person that you're giving them to. It's so much fun to make these. Okay, enough of the red velvet. Put that away. And we're going back to vanilla. I know, enough with the vanilla cake, right? So I've cut this in half like I did the other one. But I promise you, this is far, far, far from a boring cake. You guys are about to be blown away. So I'm going to do the same one. I'm going to cut out some circles, and I'm going to do layers of 4 as well, but this one is really over the top. Some other flavors that I had thought could be fun to do would be obviously the basics, your chocolate chocolate, your chocolate vanilla. You could do like a Neapolitan, so your chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. I thought about doing a chocolate with caramel and maybe some pretzel bites for that salty flavor. If you were going to do that, you don't even have to do cake. You could definitely use your favorite brownie recipe. That one would be great if you cut it into chunks so that the caramel could ooze in between all of the pieces. You could also do chocolate peanut butter. The options are endless. There is no right way to do this. There is no wrong way to do this. And no matter what flavor palette you choose, it's going to come out perfect. Okay. So we have our 4 cake pieces for our mason jar. So let me move this off to the side. This is the only problem. It gets a little bit messy in the kitchen. It was so clean when I started this video, and by the end, it's going to look like there was a cook in here making up a big mess. Okay, take our cake, put it in the bottom. We're gonna go back to the vanilla frosting. So this is our whipped vanilla bean buttercream. Oh, it's so good. Sometimes I will eat it right off the spoon with no cake required because it's so light and airy. You can follow us at Culinary Confections on Instagram or at Culinary Confections TO on Facebook. And you can see some of our tasty cakes and cupcakes that we've made. But we do lots of custom cake and cupcake orders, and like I said, we deliver right to your door or right to wherever your event is. And we just love creating things for your special occasions. It's so much fun to see the look on somebody's face when their cake comes, or if someone has sent a cake as a gift and it's a surprise. Best part of the job. But enough about that. I know you guys want to see what I'm making. So we've got our vanilla cake, our vanilla buttercream. Any guesses? What do you think this is gonna be? You saw what was on my tray. All right. The next one is some crushed cookies. So I'm gonna keep you, it's a cliffhanger here. You gotta follow me. These are crushed white Oreo cookies, but you could do graham cracker, hint, hint. I'm not a huge fan of graham cracker, so I'm going with these ones. And they're so easily accessible, whereas vegan graham crackers can be a little bit of a pain to find. Then I have a chocolate ganache that I made. So for a chocolate ganache, there's 1,000,001 ways that you can make it. I'm just gonna scoop it on to the Oreos here. But for this one, I like to make it with chocolate and a little bit of vegetable shortening or butter. It's perfect for if you want to do a drip cake or if you want it to harden slightly. I find anytime you introduce a liquid, it could be a little bit temperamental and it can be hard to gauge depending on what the temperature is like outside or inside. So I find the shortening and chocolate is foolproof. It's 2 parts chocolate to 1 part shortening, and you basically just heat your chocolate over a double broiler, and then once it's all melted, you add in the shortening and just mix it until it has completely dissolved or melted in there. And that's it. Okay, so I'm taking some mini vegan marshmallows. You gotta find the vegan ones because unfortunately marshmallows are not vegan, but you would never know. Vegan marshmallows taste just like real marshmallows, and you can get the minis and you can get the big ones. If you wanted to color your marshmallows to get those fun pastel marshmallows that you sometimes see at the grocery store, you could totally do that. I actually haven't seen vegan colored marshmallows. I'm sure they exist, but you can just toss them on a little bit of food coloring if you wanted. And if you're having trouble finding vegan food coloring, you can make it yourself with different vegetables. So you can use beets for red, you can use cabbage for blue, you can use spinach for green, and you don't taste those flavors because it stays, the flavor gets absorbed into the water, and you just take a little bit and you throw it in there, and it gives you a very, very light pastel color. Okay, so we have our cake, we have our icing, our cookies, our chocolate ganache, our marshmallows, and wait for it, we need our torch. So we are making s'mores in a jar cake version. So I'm gonna turn on my torch. It's gonna be a little bit noisy, so I'm not gonna talk while I'm doing it. Well, maybe I am. Who am I kidding? And I'm just gonna toast up the marshmallows. Now you wanna be quick because you don't want to overheat the jar and you don't want to melt the chocolate. So a torch is pretty important for that one. It's smoking up a storm, but look at that. The marshmallows are nice and golden. And then we're going to repeat. So we're going to take our next piece of cake. We're going to do our frosting. How fun is that? See what I mean when I say you can really, really get creative with these? There is just endless possibilities. Think of your favorite cake flavor and you can make it into a cake in a jar. It doesn't even have to be a cake flavor. This one was inspired from my love of s'mores. Over the course of summer, I really, really got into s'mores, but didn't call them s'mores. They're s'moreos because I like to make them with Oreos instead of graham crackers. And I know that lots of people do that, but I really find the trick is to use the white or the vanilla Oreo instead because it helps to break up some of that chocolate flavor. And sometimes I even add a little bit of peanut butter in there. I know, very, very gluttonous, but I've turned it into a cake in a jar. Okay, I'm gonna put our marshmallows on, and then we're gonna repeat the torch process. If you didn't have a torch and you wanted to make these, you could definitely still do it. You don't have to melt the marshmallows. It's still going to be delicious, so don't worry about that. Anyone can make any of these with whatever tools you have on hand. You can melt marshmallows in the oven, but since they're in a glass jar, I'm sure you could do it. I've never done it, so let's not do it. It's torch, or you just have the marshmallows as they are. But you can get torches at any kitchen store. I think that it was like $15 maybe, and then you can buy the stuff to fill up the torch just at Canadian Tire. So I use it plenty of times. All right, let's torch the next layer. If you hear some background noise, I'm obviously cooking in my home kitchen and I have my dogs with me. So it's probably them walking around or getting up to no good. And then we take our last piece. So for this one, we're actually only gonna end up using 3 layers of cake. This is like a cake meets a s'more meets just a decadent dessert in a jar. It's not as cake heavy, it's really topping heavy. Sorry, my hands are getting a bit messy with all the chocolate and marshmallow goodness. Okay. And now for our final delicious show-stopping layer, we've got our last layer of vanilla frosting. We're gonna put on our last layer of cookie crumbs. And you don't even have to do the vanilla Oreos or the graham cracker. You could do whatever flavor you wanted. If you wanted to do this with like a cookie dough, you could do cookie dough. You could do chocolate chip cookies. You can do anything. There is no rules. That's what I always say. The best part about baking or cooking is you can take a recipe or an idea and you can make it your own. And I think that's what makes these jars so fun, is since you're giving them as gifts, you can really customize it, put your love and heart into it, and people will be so grateful. I would just recommend keeping 1 or 2 or maybe even 5 extras, because I promise you're gonna wanna eat these. And you don't even have to give them as a gift. You could have these for a dinner party. If you are having a holiday dinner at your home, imagine having these waiting on the plates for your guests as a little welcome present, something for them to take home with them. You could do this with the kids. I'm just getting so excited because there are really so many options. You don't have to use mason jars either. You can get creative with your jars. You can use anything that you have on hand. Okay, so now the last final torch. Let's torch up the top. I probably could have put a few more marshmallows on, but I ran out, so that's okay. They do swell up a little bit. You don't want to burn them. When I have a s'more, I like mine blackened. But I know a lot of people just like a small burn on them. So there we have it. Our s'mores in a jar. So we have our vanilla cake, our vanilla frosting, our cookies, our chocolate ganache, and then our toasted marshmallows. So let me just wipe off this mess that I've made here quickly. It's not like on TV where you get to go to commercial and somebody can just clean up for you quickly, right? You gotta do it all on the fly. But I just wanna clean up a little bit so I can show you all of the cakes that we made together today. So just give me 1 second, get myself together here. All right. So first up was our funfetti birthday cake in a jar, whatever you want to call it, vanilla cake with sprinkles, yum. Then we made our strawberry shortcake, our strawberry and cream cake, so cute and very summery, but great for any time of year. We made our beautiful, look at those stripes, look at that pattern, our beautiful red velvet cake with cream cheese frosting and some Oreos on top. And then our fun s'moreo cake in a jar. I don't know. I'm obsessed with all of these. And when you're giving them as gifts, there's so many ways that you can decorate them. So I did some ahead of the game. I'm just gonna pull them over. But how fun are these? So in no time, I just made 4. To make about, how many jars did this make? It probably made about 16 jars. I made 2 cake recipes. So I made a vanilla cake recipe, I made a red velvet cake recipe, and then I just made some of the cake as cupcakes. I chopped some, we cut some into circles, we crumbled some, and you got about, I think it's about 16 jars. So not that hard to make, but so fun. And then to give them as gifts, you just put the top on them. I wrapped this one in twine with a little reusable wooden spoon, so now they get to keep their jar and their spoon when they're done their cake. This one is got some pretty, I guess it's twine or kitchen string, but it's got some gold wrapped through it, and this very cute little white spoon that they can put on their serving platters in the future. We got our s'more one, again with some twine and a reusable wooden spoon. How good does that look? It's caramelized and slightly burnt. Mwah! I think I'm probably gonna eat this one. And then you can also add on some little tags. I just put Love Sigourney, but you can put Happy Holidays to the recipient, Happy Birthday, whatever the case may be. And there you have it. Delicious. Absolutely to die for. Cute as all heck. Thoughtful cakes in a jar. Thank you so much for spending this time with me at the Toronto Veg Fest, again hosted by the Toronto Vegetarian Association. If you aren't familiar with the Toronto Vegetarian Association, please check them out. They have so many great events going on all year long, from different festivals to markets to resources, just everything you could possibly need. They have it, so check them out, Toronto Vegetarian Association. And thank you again. My name is Sigourney, the head chef and owner of, or head baker I should say, and owner of Culinary Confections. Please check us out on Instagram at Culinary Confections or on Facebook at Culinary Confections TO. We would love to deliver some custom cakes or cupcakes to your door. Thank you once again. Enjoy the rest of your time at Veg Fest this year. And until next time, bye.